I've always been an introvert. I didn't speak much, even amongst friends or social gatherings. I used to get prompted sometimes, which made me feel awkward that I wasn't participating actively in the discussions. Didn't mean that I had lack of words or knowledge, but it's just who I was. And my introverted personality was a limiting factor in my career. I never had much opportunity in my early years of career to take leadership role or give presentations. So my focus from high school to university was to study. While my academia gave me strength in my technical ability, I lacked in people skills. And I remember at one stage, while working with my boss in my first job in an accounting practice, he told me to stop visiting the tax office because I could not communicate well. And that was affecting his business. That incident had a strong impact on me mentally. And I decided to go from my small hometown to Delhi to prove myself. I joined the corporate sector as a financial accountant in one of the subsidiaries of a public listed group. And within 8 years, I became the CFO of the whole group, which by then had expanded internationally. Worked very closely with the chairman and managing director of that group, who was a visionary. And I learned a lot under his mentorship, which filled me with confidence. With this newfound confidence, I moved to Perth with my wife and 2 young boys. Contrary to what you see on the screen, we didn't arrive here by boat, we arrived by plane. I wanted to pursue my passion to consult and help small businesses and individuals to achieve their goals and financial freedom. But that meant I had to start all over again, and it was challenging. My qualifications were not recognized here, and I had no experience in the local accounting industry, and everything was a cultural shock. I had to find a relevant job so that I can feed my family, get local experience, and be able to study for my Australian CA qualification so that my professional credentials can be recognized. It was a daunting task. And the first step for me was to dust my resume and start applying for relevant roles. I wanted to highlight my experience, my qualifications, and my achievements, but to my surprise, all were getting greeted with rejections. Quickly, I realized I need to use the cut-down version of my resume to start applying for relevant positions. And the reason I was getting rejected was because I was overqualified. That meant I had to start with a basic role where I'm competing with graduates who had no experience. And it turns out that my lack of exposure to the local work culture was playing a negative role. After numerous attempts from various angles and some guidance and experience, I managed to land my first job, after 6 weeks in a small to mid-sized accounting firm in West Perth. First day at the office, and it was intimidating. Everything was new to me. The systems, the software, the team, the work culture, and the so-called timesheets and the time-based billing. I was struggling with the Aussie accent and was trying to adjust to it. I was desperate to produce results to impress my directors. I would keep asking a lot of questions to my colleagues and go back to the directors for help. I thought I was making progress. But to my shock, at the beginning of the third week, I was pulled in by the directors for a chat and was handed over a notice of termination. I was told I don't have the essential skills for this job. It was only 2 weeks, and I was trying to learn the ropes. But I was not given enough opportunity to prove myself. I had to then pack my stuff and leave. I wanted to cry and was controlling my tears to avoid the embarrassment. I had no courage left to go back home and tell my wife. I spent the afternoon in the city and went home after office hours so could I avoid telling my family. I had only so much savings left to last for a few months, as the cost of living and the rent was already killing us. It took me 2 months to find my next job. I started all over again. And this time in a very basic role at a graduate level with a very small firm. It was hard for me to face the reality, but I was on a mission. I wouldn't be able to start my CA qualifications, to get my professional credentials recognized, till I start working in an accounting practice to achieve the required mentorship. For next 2 years, I focused on acquiring the essential skills, what is required to be a practicing accountant in Australia, and at the same time be able to manage feed my family. Two years later, I got a breakthrough in another small to mid-sized accounting firm in Joondalup. The owner was so impressed with my interview that he offered me the role of a manager because he appreciated my knowledge, my international work experience, and what I could bring to the table. Having worked for 10 months in that role and the results I produced, I was then offered a pathway to partnership in their business. Eventually, I left that firm because my vision was not aligned to it. Because I wanted to build something of my own. I wanted to build a legacy. And Fortuna was born. From 2011 to 2014, I made steady progress. I had 2 staff and could only achieve $400,000 in revenue without any major strategic planning. Then in 2014, I undertook a major researching and planning exercise. I engaged a team of high-level strategic consultants to undertake research on the accounting industry and the future pathways. Six months of deep research helped us to carve our strategic plan, followed by a detailed 7-year roadmap to achieve the vision of top 100 accounting firms in Australia by 2022. By the end of 2015, we already had 3 offices in Perth Metro and 1 regional office in Carnarvon. We already had 1 acquisition under our belt, and we had already kicked off our other service divisions in financial planning, legal, and mortgage broking. And slowly, the dream of emerging as a multi-service firm was becoming a reality. In 2017, we leased 500 square meter office space in Balcatta and amalgamated all our Perth offices, thereby bringing the entire Perth team under one roof, resulting in a lot of efficiency and collaboration between all the divisions. At the end of the day, the mission was to provide cost-effective, high-value, holistic solutions to client needs. By 2018, the size of my firm was already bigger than the firm I was fired from. And in 2019, Fortuna Advisory Group was awarded the Best Multi-Service Firm of the Year award nationally at Australian Accounting Awards held in Sydney, and many other awards along the way. As we have grown, many people have made comments, how lucky we are, but I disagree. Nothing comes without planning, focus, and determination, and appetite for risks, and resilience to face challenges. And I'm sure most, if not all of you in this room would have faced enormous challenges in your careers. So what can you do to tackle these challenges and take a strategic approach to build a business? From my experience, I've learned 3 critical areas to focus on. Number 1, invest in your team. Any growth, as we know, brings a major challenge of maintaining a cohesive team and work culture that inspires people to the ultimate goal and commitment to your vision. It doesn't come easy. Every time you think you've inspired a team member, you get a surprise because each person has different underlying levers and motivation factors. This is one area where I've made a lot of mistakes. I wasn't giving enough time to my team and used to lose patience. My focus was my clients and not my team. And due to that, I was losing some good people in that journey. And I realized the topmost thing in your business is your team. Since then, we've invested a lot in looking after the mental health and well-being of our team. Work-life balance is very important. And maintaining a healthy work culture keeps the team productive. So from the group discussion point of view, I would like to know from this activity, how do you invest in your team? The 4 options: team activities, days in lieu of work from home, bonus payments, profit share, employee share scheme. So you can choose one of the options or you can choose multiple options. You'll get 10 seconds to answer this activity, and once you've selected your option, the results will be displayed on the screen. So your time starts now. Excellent. So, I mean, most of the room is investing in one way or the other, which is a great outcome. Everyone is, of course, investing in the most suitable way that suits their business. But it's a good result to see that how the entire room is investing in their team. Now, having a strong and cohesive team is great. And you need to reward hard work and talent. That means you need to pay for good people, which means you need to have cash. Besides human resource capital, cash is still the king in the success of any business. That brings me to my second point. That brings me to my second point, capital and finance. Another major bottleneck in the growth of any business is the capital required and the availability of appropriate finance if you don't have deep pockets. It is very important to build strong credibility and finance history so that the banks run after you and not away from you. You need to start small and be prepared to put your life savings in so that the banks can see you've got skin in the game. Once the banks build confidence in your business and your finance ethics, they'll tend to open the doors for you. And brick by brick from there keeps you going to build that structure. One fundamental rule in my life, I never default in paying my bills or my lenders. I would rather buy more time if required and work with them so that the expectations don't fall short. This is something I've learned back in India from my mentor. It's gone a long way in shaping my financial discipline. So on that note, we'd like to know from another activity from your room, how often do you check your credit assessment or borrowing capacity and ensure you are in a good position with your banks? The options are yearly, 1 to 3 years, more than 3 years, or never. You get 10 seconds and your time starts now. All right, that's excellent results. You know, a little less than half of the room is actually doing this yearly, which is excellent. Now, you can have a great team, a strong credit rating, and a booming business. But however, we've all found out from the last few months that we don't really know what the future holds. That brings me to my third and last point, expect the unexpected. Not everything in your journey will go according to your plan. There'll be curveballs and throw you off the track and shatter your mental strength. So it's very important to have a risk plan in any strategic planning. Not only to mitigate your risks, but to survive any adverse consequences. You cannot calculate every risk in your business and personal life. So sometimes you have to go with the flow and adapt to the situation. Ask yourself, is your business agile enough to survive any uncalculated risks? You have to be unfortunate to face severe circumstances for your business to cripple. And it may happen if you don't have any survival plans or not agile enough to adapt and come out of it. It highlights a very important role of your marketing team to undertake market research on your industry to see what's coming in the next 10 years and prepare for it. Our initial research on the top 100 accounting firms gave us enough stats on the emerging features of the firms of the future, and it would be ignorant of us if we were crafting our roadmap of growth based on the features of the firm in 2015. So we worked on to have the features of how the firms of the future will look in 2021. We didn't want to have an extinct model by the time we reach a milestone. We are in a very fast-changing world. With digital disruption, artificial intelligence, and other disruptive models, the pace of change is phenomenal. The change we acknowledge or used to acknowledge in 10 years is now visible in 12 months. So if you're not alert all the time, you may be left behind. So I would like to know from our final activity that how often do you evaluate your risk strategies in your business? Again, 4 options: less than a year, 1 to 3 years, more than 3 years, and never. You get 10 seconds, and your time starts now. Beautiful. I mean, if we can all do that, I think we can definitely survive anything like COVID. As you think through the activity questions, ask yourself, what does growth and success mean to you? Does that mean just being wealthy or accumulating more cash? Yes, one needs a sustainable lifestyle and enough wealth to fulfill your dreams. But have you asked yourself, what does it actually mean? To me, it means much more than that simple wealth or lifestyle, because I want to create something bigger than me, because I believe in building a legacy. I still consider myself to be an introvert, but when I look back at my journey, being an introvert has enabled me to view the world through a different lens. It has changed my perspective in life that how important it is to build relationships, as it is fundamental to any successful business. And because of that, I immersed myself in the game of building relationships. Yes, I'm the founder, and I'm the current owner of Fortuna Advisory Group, but that's not how I look at it. I consider myself to be the caretaker for future owners to emerge. I get excited by working with people to be ambitious, to achieve what they desire to achieve in their business and personal life, because when you do so, you can create a legacy that continues for generations. Thank you.